We are here at the Inje International Circuit, where the world famous Le Mans brand is now being firmly entrenched within Asia with the Asian Le Mans series. And what a fantastic facility it is. A very warm welcome from myself, Graham Harvey, and everyone from the Asian Le Mans series to the 3 hours of Inje. The series will showcase some great drivers from around the world, and there's a core ethos to assist in Asian driver development. The Asian Le Mans Series management have made a great decision to start their series at this superb track, as it is demanding and will test the driver at every corner and for every minute of the race. So let's take a look at this Korean circuit. Inje is 3.9 kilometers long. It has 20 turns with 11 right-handed and 9 are left-handed, and one of the key attributes that the drivers instantly love about Inje are the undulations and cambers of the circuit. It's a real roller coaster ride for these drivers, which will mean every lap will be interesting for them, and it will keep them on their toes for 3 hours. Saturday saw the qualifying session, and Chinese driver Ho Pin Tung flew around the track in the Oak Racing Morgan Judd, and after 17 laps, Tung secured the fastest lap time of 1 minute 25.162 seconds, and that was a new lap record for this Inje circuit. Team AA Restrada had a satisfactory Saturday with the 92 entry, but sadly, due to irreparable damage sustained during Sunday's warm-up, it could not take part in the actual endurance race. Team Taisan Ken Enlis had 2 cars in the race, and the Ferrari starts third on the grid after Kamui Kobayashi clocked its fastest lap time of 1 minute 31.93 seconds. The team's Porsche car GTC entry, driven by Kuzuki Mineo, finished with a 1 minute 37.357 lap time after completing 5 circuits. AF Corsa's Michel Rugolo set the team's fastest lap time with a 1 minute 32.299, which was just over 1/10 of a second behind Craft Racing, which just shows you how close this series is going to be. Frank Yu in the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 only needed 7 laps to be the fastest GTC entry on Sunday's grid, with a time of 1 minute 32.178. The LMP2 competition was incredibly close, and KCMG qualified in second place, less than half a second behind the Oak Racing team. Ireland's Gary Thompson drove his Morgan Nissan's fastest lap, recording a time of 1 minute 25.608 seconds. And just to complete the whole qualifying story, BBT were unable to participate in qualifying due to technical issues with their Lamborghini Gallardo GT3 and start Sunday's race from the back of the grid. Sunday morning greeted us with a wonderful sunny day, but within this mountainous region the weather changes very quickly. The race started under safety car and continued for 8 laps due to the torrential rain, as you can see from the pictures. And here's the starting grid for the 3 hours of Inje. In P1 is Oak Racing, the 24 car with Morgan Judd. Then in P2 is the KCMG Morgan Nissan. Row 2 is filled by the 70 car, that's a Ferrari 458 GT of Team Taisan Ken Enlis. After him is the 007 car, Aston Martin of Craft Racing. P5 is AF Corsa SRL, it's a red Ferrari. Steve Wyatt starting, you'll be able to see him quite clearly with the Australian Kangaroo on the side. After Steve Wyatt, there is in P6 the 91 car with the McLaren GT of Team AAI Restrada. After that one, you've got the Taisan Ken Enlis 26, that's a Porsche 996 GT300, and rounding up the field is the 37 car of BBT from China, that's a Lamborghini Gallardo GT3. So the rain is still pouring hard. As you can see, the 26 car has now come in for a tactical pit change, and also here comes the 24 car, the LMP2 class here as a driver change under caution. So the safety car is in after 8 laps, and we're just getting ready for the green light, and it's go here for the 3 hours of Inje, and a small piece of history has truly been made as the cars race in anger for the first ever Asian Le Mans Series race. James Winslow there in the KCMG car, tiptoeing around the first two turns. Obviously you want to make sure that you complete the first lap here of many. There goes the other cars. There's Steve Wynn, and following at the back is Yusuke Mido, number 26 in the Porsche. KCMG, of course, they are racing the Morgan Nissan, and later on in this race Akash Nandi from Malaysia will also be breaking some records, because he is actually only 16 years old, and when he actually comes out onto the track he'll be the youngest ever driver to race and get behind the wheel of a Le Mans Series race. So just watch out for that later on within these 3 hours. As you can see, the rain is still falling, and that's going to cause some problems as they gingerly go around this circuit. They're getting their brake positions and working out their racing line, and with the rain they've got to go around a couple of more minutes before it dries out. It's a beautiful track here. It's around 2.5 miles in length, nearly 4 kilometers, and you've got inclines, as you can see, as they go down to turn 16. There's a kind of a hairpin turn around 16 and 17. There's Steve Wynn. You can spot the Australian driver. He's got that kangaroo on the side with the Australian flag, easy to spot in his Ferrari. Coming up now, the 16 is basically the bottom of the track, and then they come up the turns of 17 and 18. They've got a nice sweeping turn into turn 20, and then it's 1 lap down. So right behind Steve Wynn, that's the 24 car of David Cheng. He's got his lights on, asking Steve Wynn to get out of the way, because there are 3 categories on show today. They are LMP2, they are the big cars, followed by GTE and GTC. Now, Steve Wynn, is he going to allow David Cheng to just get past him? They of course are racing overall, but they're in different categories. Just see how they work their way through. He's making sure that he's in the slipstream of Steve Wynn. You can see a racing line starting to develop, and hopefully the LMP2 car, Steve Wynn's nicely moved over, and there you can see David Cheng breezes past the Ferrari. Weather's still a little bit bad, but these cars have got a long time to go, and the track will eventually dry out, and I'm sure the times will fall rapidly. And as I look out the window here, it looks like the north part of the circuit, the rain has stopped. David Cheng, Oak Racing, they had the fastest time around the track during qualifying. They posted a 1:25.162. And now David Cheng is coming up to Craft Racing, the 007 car. And there you can see the blue flag being waved, just to remind Kita Sawa of Craft Racing in the 007 Aston Martin, just to watch out while David Cheng comes close by. And as you can see, Cheng's got past Sawa, so now Cheng is now going to be gunning for his main competitor in LMP2. That is KCMG's James Winslow. And here he is. Winslow can obviously be told by the pits that David Cheng's on his tail as he breezes past the Lamborghini there. And now we've got a duel here between the 70 car with Kamui Kobayashi and the 007 Aston Martin. And now Kobayashi comes in, so this could be a driver change for Tassan Ken Endless. And we've got a tyre change going on as well. Bit of refueling, of course. They've got 3 hours to go around this track. And the red Ferrari is off and running again. That's one of the beautiful things about this endurance racing. You've got to just pace yourself. And a second pit stop for Team Taishan Ken Endless with the 26 car. And there's the 37 car of the Lamborghini Gallardo, just having a driver change as well. And away he goes. And just look at that, just shakes the car there just to get his tyres warmed up. Obviously there's still a little bit of dampness in the track, so the 91 car, they obviously want to make sure that their tyres are at full temperature before they actually get out on the track. And there you can see the sun is out, and we now got a dry racing line as Oak Racing breezes past there down into this apex of turns 16 and 17. Then there's a climb again. Look at that incline, all the way up to turns 18 and 19 to complete another lap on this 20-turn circuit at Inje. As I say, the circuit's 2.5 miles long, about 4k. And now Craft Racing comes in for a pit change. The driver gets out. Of course, they've got to have their own seats. And there's Steve Wynn in his car. Tyres and the fuel goes in as the drivers change. And Craft Racing are just getting ready. It's not like other sports where you've got to quickly dash in and out of the pit box because seconds count. It can be a bit more leisurely in this endurance racing. And there's a bit of a drag race going on now between Craft Racing and the Steve Wynn's team, AF Corsa SIL, in that red Ferrari. And here's KCMG James Winslow, currently leading the race. And that's the beautiful 97 car behind him. Coming through there, or coming on the inside there, that's 91, the McLaren GT3 of Team AA Estrada. Just look at how close he hugs the racing line there, Team Estrada. And he goes past and completes another lap. And here's the KCMG Morgan Nissan, pacing himself quite nicely, followed by the Japanese entry of Team Taishan Ken Endless in the GTE class. Keeping it nice and steady. You can see now there's a definitive dry racing line around this Inje circuit, so the lap times will be falling. And now they come down. This is a very good overtaking part of the track, and it looks like there you can see KCMG just went wide, just let through Team Taishan Ken Endless. So KCMG are obviously working out the fractions, and that's probably the reason why he took it nice and easy, as Oak Racing are in for a tyre change. So 1 hour is down here at Inje, and this is state of play. Leading the field is the 24 car of Oak Racing, and Ho Ping Tung is in the car, and he leads not only the race but his category of LMP2. He's completed 29 laps. 1 lap behind is James Winslow in that KCMG. P3 is Taishan Ken Endless team with Keimu Kobayashi, and he's in the GTE class with 27 laps in the books. 4th is a 007 car of Craft Racing with the German Stefan Muka in the lead on his category of GTC, followed by AF Corsa SRL, and Andrea Bertolini is behind the car. In 6th place is the Team Taishan Ken Endless GTC car, and in 7th place is Akira Ida in the Team AAI Restrada, who's completed 26 laps, and the last car on the track is the BTT 37 car of David Rizzo, and he has completed 26 laps, but is about 1 minute behind Akira Ida. And here we can see the battle here between the 70 car of Team Taisan Endless and Craft Racing and Taisan Endless. Driver change there. Kita Sawa and Craft Racing changing places. And here is the 18 car battling out with the 91 car. Just take a look at this again. That was a great manoeuvre. And away goes Oak Racing. Now they need to get their sights on the KCMG. The lights are on. And here's a good battle here between 37 car of BTT and Team Taisan Ken Endless. Coming up to turns 4 and 5. They're both, of course, challenging in the GTC category. And now this carousel of turns 5, 6 going up to turn 7. So the Team BTT followed by Taisan Ken Endless, and we've got loads of action down in turn 16 and 17 here. And you've got the Oak Racing car trying to keep out of the way of all these cars battling out for the GTC category. And now we have there in the middle of it the GTE going past the Porsche. That's in the Ferrari there, followed by the Porsche, and the Lamborghini, the McLaren there of Team AAI at Restrada. Up they go, and the 37 car. Oh, he just made a little mistake there. He tried to let the GTE class car of Team Taisan Endless go past, but he went a bit too wide there and he's let nearly the whole field through. And here is Oak Racing coming up close behind. Still setting a nice even pace here. And he'll just breeze down this home straight and goes past the McLaren of Team AAI Restrada. Now, the speed of these cars are quite similar down this home straight, but then when you actually get on these corners, you can see how well these cars, the LMP2 class cars, handle the turns, and that's where they make the difference. And there you can see Team KCMG. The track's now getting perfectly dry. And here's the battle for the lead here. KCMG up against Oak Racing. Duel down the home straight here. Is KCMG going to manage to slipstream? He pulls out. But Oak Racing's got the inner line and defends that going into turns 1 and 2. The race is on with the back marker here. Is the back marker going to get in the way? Let's just see here what KCMG can do. Again, through they go. Down through this carousel of turns 5, 6, climbing up to turn 7. The race is on here. Now they're into turns 11 and 12. Where is KCMG going to find the position to go past him? He ducks down, gets the inside line here at turns 12, and he manages to make a good manoeuvre there over Oak Racing. Here's a battle, 26 and the 77 car. They're in the same class, GTC. And here's 007. Unfortunately, James Bond's not in the car today as he comes down into turns 5 and 6. And we've now got Team Taisan Ken Endless, 70 Ferrari, in for the pits. Now KCMG setting a good, nice pace through these 3 hours here at Inje. sizing up Craft Racing here for a manoeuvre down this back straight. Obviously Craft Racing don't want to get involved in a tussle with a car from a bigger class, LMP2 versus GTC there. And they come down this home straight. KCMG making sure the track's his, goes past quite nicely. This is the longest part of the track, 640 metres in a straight line. So the LMP2 car just has much more power than the GTC condition car. And here we've got the Ferrari 458 GT. That's the McLaren, looking good. So it's going to be McLaren versus Aston Martin. There's a drag race down the home straight here. Who's going to win? Craft Racing, nice manoeuvre. Slipstreams the McLaren and goes breezing past. And he overtakes before turns 1, 2 and 3, coming up to the apex of turn 4 here. Is the McLaren trying to get back? He's still on the Aston Martin's tail here. And then the 26 Porsche just goes wide, just to let through Taysan Ken Endless. As Taysan Ken's Endless Ferrari there, number 70. That's in the GTE class. Track looking in good condition here. This is the first international race at this South Korean circuit. We're about 130 miles east of the capital Seoul. And now they come down, braking hard. KCMG here. And these drivers have to have a metronomic clock in their head, making sure they click off the laps, but make sure that they know where to brake, where to corner. And the Morgan goes breezing past this Ferrari. And KCMG just ticking off the laps. Looking good. Here's the Aston Martin now going to be under pressure from the Morgan of Oak Racing. Coming down this long 640 metre home straight. You'll see this Morgan possibly just pull out here. Well, he's now going to try and go on the inner. And nicely does it. Breezes past the Aston Martin. If you're interested in this series, the Asian Le Mans has got a beautiful website for you. It's asianlemanseries.com. Asian Le Mans series is all one word. And you can check out all the news and features, catch up on all the results and previews as well. We've got a couple more races this year to come. So the blue flag is waved there as KCMG are in the lead, and chasing hard is Oak Racing. They need to pick up the pace a bit as they're a lap behind. And now we have KCMG coming right past the 26 car, the Porsche of Team Taisan Ken Endless. I think they're just going to try and refuel the car. We've got a team change as well. This is a truly team sport. Even the drivers make sure that their teammates are safely strapped in and they're ready to go when the jacks go down here. So 2 hours are now in the books, and this is how it looks with 1 hour to go. Leading is KCMG, and Gary Thompson is now in the LMP2 car. He has completed 70 laps. About 90 seconds behind is the other LMP2 car of Oak Racing, and David Cheng is behind the wheel. P3 is the GTC car of AF Corsa SOL with Andrea Bertolini. They've completed 68 laps. 1 lap behind is Craft Racing in that Aston Martin with Stefan Muka of Germany. 65 laps completed is in P5 Kamu Kobayashi in the GTE car of Team Taisan Ken Endless, and their teammates in the GTC Ferrari car have completed 64 laps, and in P7 is Chen Sun San driving the Team AAI Restrada McLaren. They've completed 63 laps, and in last place is the BTT team with David Rizzo. They are 4.6 seconds behind the 91 car. And here in last place is the BTT car in the Lamborghini. And in come Craft Racing's Aston Martin. A full tyre change, and also back in is the 91 McLaren of Team AAI Restrada. They're working on the wheel there. Driver's just getting himself ready to get back out onto the track. And away goes the Aston Martin. The track is completely dry, and they've still got the wheels to put on this beautiful McLaren. And here's the Porsche of Team Taisan Ken Endless racing in the GTC car, and away goes the McLaren of Team AAI Restrada. So away goes the McLaren for another stint on this Inje circuit. And there's the Ferrari of Team Taisan Ken Endless going out after another driver's change. Beautiful looking Ferrari. Comes out here at turn 3. When they come out, of course, they've got to make sure that the other cars aren't swinging into that apex of turn 4. Just like that. And there's the Oak Racing car overtaking. Coming through nicely. He's on the pace. He needs to try and get closer to his main competitor in the LPM2 class. That's KCMG's Morgan. And now with a nice dry track, the Morgan Judd is now flying to catch up with the Morgan Nissan of KCMG. This Porsche is ticking off the yards as well. Coming around there, you can just see that driver fighting the car, just trying to get smoothly through turns 4 and 5. Then they come around to this carousel of 5 and 6, and they'll be uphill to turn 7. The elevation is quite high. When you get down this back straight of turn 7 and 8, you're about 40 foot above the home straight, as you'll probably see later on. And here's the leader, KCMG. Morgan Nissan from Hong Kong, the team. They'll be happy with the way the drivers are pacing themselves and making sure the car is being nursed through these long hours of Inje. And fairly soon he could be coming up to lap the Judd of Oak Racing. As you can see, if you've never been to this track before, it's a fantastic facility. The management have done very well to build this track down in the bottom of the valley. It's got a beautiful hotel and condominium section, as well as a park just around turn 20. There you can just see there in the background the condominium complex. And it's been a real honour to have the first international race here at the circuit. Over the line goes KCMG, as you can see. He's hard on the heels of Oak Racing. I'm sure KCMG want to lap the other Morgan. And in comes KCMG. They've done their driver's change. It gives Oak Racing a chance to claw back some of the time disadvantage. And now Oak Racing has seen KCMG come in. Oh, has he just overshot a little bit? Yes, he has. They've just got to put him back in the right spot so they can refuel the car okay. And in goes the next driver. So this series has started well. A truly international field, not only from the teams but also the drivers taking part. And they're going to be here all season. So stay tuned. Make a note in the diaries on your TV listings to watch out for Asian Le Mans series. And you can, as I say, you can keep up with all the information on a superb website. As Oak Racing gets back into contention, and that's what Oak Racing has to beat. The KCMG Morgan flying around the track, very consistent with the lap times here. So as they come around the latter half of the track, that's the 26 car of Taisan Ken Endless. They're actually from Japan, the team, and that's going to be our next visit to the Fuji Motor Track. And there'll be 2 other venues that we'll be visiting this year in this 4-race series. And it truly is a Pan-Asia series, as we've started here in Korea, then we go to Japan, and we'll be racing at 2 other countries this season. So Taishan Ken Endless there in the GTE class, the Porsche of Team Taishan Ken Endless, the team mates, but not in the same categories there. So now Craft Racing looking now to overtake the Porsche. Aston Martin up against Porsche, and the Aston Martin just gets the advantage. Now it's not just a Asian series with the teams. We've actually got international, a truly international field here. Oak Racing have come from France, and we've also got the Italian team of AF Corsa SRL, and naturally being Italian, they're in that beautiful Ferrari 458 GT3, and you'll be able to spot that one because there you go, that's the one with the kangaroo on the side with the Australian flag, but they actually do have 2 Italians behind the wheel during this 3 hours. They are Andrea Bertolini and Michele Rugolo. And in comes Oak Racing. So in comes the 24 car of Oak Racing. It looks like they overshot their pit box and they've got a time delay. May as well, they could have sped down a little bit too fast down pit lane as well. So he's just got to sit there for a couple of seconds. And the official says, away you go. It looks like he's stalled the car there. And away he goes. That's a costly mistake there for Oak Racing. And now this is how close this series is. We've got 3 cars in the same category, GTC. Just look how close they are. You've got the Lamborghini, you've got the Ferrari and the McLaren, 3 different car makes, neck and neck, fighting hard here. So coming down to turn 16, the bottom of the track. Obviously, the Ferrari now has got a distinct advantage over the Lamborghini, and there is the 91 car of Team AA Estrada, the McLaren. And here comes Oak Racing again. They've got another stop and go penalty. This time it's going to be longer, as it's the second one. As you can see, a member of Oak Racing is just having a chat with the official there, just to clarify the position. And he's just probably going to go over and have a chat to the driver, just to let the driver know what the problem is. He's just checking the dials there as well. Maybe just speculating. There could be a possibility that the driver may not actually truly know the speed that he's going down pit lane if there's a problem with his dashboard. Hence having a second stop and go penalty. That must take for ages for that driver. It must be like purgatory sitting in that car knowing that the other cars are flying past him and he can do nothing about it. And here comes the McLaren from the 91 team AA Estrada from Taipei, and they've got the Yun San Chen from Taipei, and we're just now waiting for the penalty to expire as the Taipei team comes around. And it's not just Asian drivers in this series, it is a truly international and select field. And Oak Racing are back. Sweeping down into turn 20. That must be a beautiful feeling for the driver to go down that camber into the home straight. And he's only now got the Aston Martin in front of him. And these drivers are top class. They're not just Asian. We've got, of course, Gary Thompson and James Winslow from Ireland and Great Britain, respectively. And there's also, as I've previously said, the Italian drivers of Andrea Bertolini and Michele Rugolo from AF Corsa SRL. And David Rizzio drives for the BBT team with the other Italian, Max Weiser. And there's also a very good German driver of Stefan Muka, driving that beautiful Aston Martin for Craft Racing. As now, the Porsche of the 26 Tai-San Ken Ennis just makes way for the Italian team, AF Corsa SRL, to go past. And Oak Racing, 24, Morgan, needs to start picking up the pace. 2 penalties. He needs to now clean piece of driving, and he needs to side through this field to catch his main competitor in the LPM2 class. That's the KCMG team. And it looks like we've got a black flag here for car 91. He needs to come in now. Team AA Estrada, the McLaren. He obviously has not recognised a stop and go penalty, so he does need to come in. That's the reason why the board's out with a black flag. He has to be aware that he has to come in now. So now we're getting into deep into the final hour here of the 3 hours of Inje. So the tyres and the engines must be screaming out for mercy. And here we can see the cars keeping this line, trying to keep consistent. You can see the marbles there on the track in the foreground. The drivers just keeping the race in line because they want to keep their tyres nice and safe. They don't want any extra bits of rubber and marbles coming onto their tyres and hindering their performance there. And the pressure's on between these two now. 91 up against the 37 Lamborghini. And here is the leader, KCMG. He's got a healthy lead now, so they just need to bring this one home. Keep it in the middle of the track, and it could be the first ever victory in Asian Le Mans. Smoothly through these turns 9 and 10. I'm sure the team are just saying to the driver, be nice and relaxed. They're a long way ahead of this Oak Racing team. And here finally the McLaren has come in for his stop and go. And looks like there's something wrong there with the Aston Martin of Craft Racing. He's limping. Can he get back to the pits so the mechanics can have a look? And well, 007 may have a license to thrill, but we've heard from pit lane that they've got a problem with the drive shaft. So unfortunately the day is done for Craft Racing. Oak Racing still trying to cut the deficit down on the leader, as the Morgan of KCMG keeps pushing out these laps, almost metronomic here in the timing. Very consistent. This is what this class is all about, endurance, but to be consistent over a long period of time. Sweeping past the cars there. Just look how it hugs this corner. That was very nicely done as they drop down from turns 11 down to turn 16. You can see the racing line. And it looks like the McLaren's given up. Something's wrong. You can see the smoke out the car. And here comes the leader, the KCMG Morgan. They're coming in for a bit of a splash and dash. They've got to make it quick because he could win this from pit lane because time is running out. The 3 hours are nearly up. And the McLaren there, that's terminal. And this looks like he's going to win this from pit lane. And there you go. The 3 hours are up. The checker flag has been taken by the second car of AF Corsa SRL with Andrea Bertolini in the car. So here are the overall results for the 3 hours of Inje. The winner was the number 18 car of KCMG, and they were in the LMP2 class. Second was the 77 car of AF Corsa, and they were in the GTC class. Third, number 24, Oak Racing from LMP2 class. Fourth was the 70 car of Taysan Ken Enlis, and they were competing in the GTE class. Fifth was also the 26 car from Taysan Ken Enlis, and their Porsche was competing in the GTC class. Sixth, number 37 car of BBT, and they were in GTC. Seventh was the McLaren 91 car of Team AAI Restrada, and they were also in GTC. And finally was the 007 car of Craft Racing from the GTC class. And for all the point standings, you can visit the AsianLeMansSeries.com website. The outright honours go to KCMG from AF Corsa SRL and Oak Racing. In LMP2 class, KCMG took the champagne and Oak Racing were second. In the GTE class, Taysan Ken Enlis took the champagne. And in GTC, AF Corsa SRL were top of the podium from Taysan Ken Enlis and BBT. So what an incredibly exciting inaugural Asian Le Mans Series race here in Korea. The series will visit Fuji, Japan in a month's time before heading back to the Asian mainland for the final 2 rounds of the series. We look forward to welcoming you back then. From all of us from Asian Le Mans Series, hope you have enjoyed this coverage and see you next time.